What's up, everybody? My name is Josh LaFleur from Lane Star Piano. Today, we're going to be talking about your first year of playing the piano, what that's like, what to expect, and some challenges that you will run into within that first year. So, first of all, if you have no prior musical experience at all, you've never played another instrument, you've never took any music lessons, it's going to be a lot more difficult for you, just to be upfront with you, versus if you have some experience. First of all, when you play the piano, if you have, I've said this before on other videos, but if you have goals of playing piano beyond just a couple songs, you need to learn how to read sheet music. And sheet music itself is like a whole nother language, okay? There are symbols, there are words, usually in Italian, so if you don't speak Italian, then that's another thing you have to overcome. And just numerous symbols. Some symbols mean the same thing. Some symbols look the same, but they can mean different things. It's a whole other language that you have to learn. Obviously, you can start off very simple, but eventually you will have to learn how to read more difficult things as you progress in your piano playing. So that's the first thing you want to keep in mind. Second big challenge is the hand coordination piece. So piano, unlike a lot of other instruments, is when you play the piano, your hands can be doing two totally separate things. And I'm not talking just about like your left hand plays chords and your right hand plays the melody. I'm talking about even each individual finger on each hand can be doing something different. So you can be accenting notes in your right hand, making certain notes pop a little bit. If it's your melody, it's usually the top note that you might play a little bit louder, while all the other fingers on both hands play a little bit quieter. That's one big thing. You might be making huge jumps in your left hand, jumping up and down the piano, while your right hand might be staying in the same spot. Again, playing at different volumes, which is very, very tricky, especially if you've never played before. Another thing, too, especially in more classical music, is one of your hands might be playing legato, which means smoothly connected. Everything is smooth connected and kind of just smooth in general. It sounds nice. It's not choppy. It's not broken up. And on the other hand, might be doing the exact opposite. It might be more like a ragtime feel where you're playing very staccato. It's called very choppy, broken up, and short. It's kind of like sharp sounding. So if you have one hand that's playing really smooth, one hand that's playing the exact opposite, it's very, very hard to kind of coordinate that in between your hands and make sure that things pop out and things are played the way that they're supposed to be played. So that's another big challenge, is that hand independence, hand coordination piece when you're playing. We already talked about reading the music as well as another big piece. And another piece is just learning musically, learning the music space. If you've never played piano before, I'm sure you've listened to music, you've listened to songs, but actually getting in there and actually making music or playing music is a whole nother ballgame, because now you're thinking about things like time. You're thinking about the phrasing of your music. You're thinking about the sharps and flats and the accents in the music that you need to be playing, the things that you need to actually make come out of the music. Where if you've only ever listened to music before, you might have taken a lot of those things for granted. You might not even realize that those things are happening. Okay, so it's another challenge. And then you have the whole mindset piece. So the whole mindset piece when you play the piano, because it can be really frustrating, again, if you've never had any experience playing an instrument, because you're stepping into this whole new world where everything is completely new to you. You have no experience, you're starting from the ground, and you need to work your way up. So that's another whole piece in of itself is your mindset. I think a lot of people, when they're first beginning, they have this expectation that they're going to be really good really quick. Okay, so people overestimate what they can be playing at and what they can sound like within the short period, but they underestimate what they can do within the long term. So what do I mean by that? I think a lot of people, when they're first trying to play, their first month of playing, they are expecting themselves to be playing these classical pieces like Für Elise or their favorite song, whatever that is, within the first month. And yes, it's possible. I mean, you might be able to do that within the first month, even with no prior musical experience, but that's not the normal thing to happen, okay? Usually it takes a lot more time for you to be able to play songs that you really love at the level that you want to play them. So they overestimate what they can do within that first month, but they underestimate where they can be at within a year. So a year is a long time. It's also a short time, depending on your practice schedule. If you practice for an hour every single day, if you practice for 10 minutes once a week, obviously this can affect how you progress within that year. But what I did was I played every day for a year for at least 30 minutes. So that was my thing. That was my standard that I set for myself. Every day for a year for 30 minutes. The only week I missed was when I took a trip to Italy. I went to the Vatican and Rome as well for a week. So that week I did not play. And then I got COVID right after that. So I don't think I played for the next day or two after I got home. So in total, it's probably 7 or 8 days that I missed for the year that I did not practice. But besides that, I played every single day for at least 30 minutes every single day. Some days where I played a lot more, like 3 hours worth, 4 hours worth even, like on Sundays when I wasn't working. But I played for at least 30 minutes every single day, and I literally put my phone up. I hit the start clock, the stopwatch timer on your iPhone that everybody has. I hit start, and I would just practice. I would break out my practice sessions by different segments, whatever I was working on, until I at least hit that 30 minutes. And in that time, I was able to go through all of the Elfridge Level 1, which was the method book I was working on, which is probably what you're working on as well if you're brand new. That's what I would recommend you do, is to get one of the method books. I use Elfridge All-in-One Level 1. And it teaches you everything you need to know. It teaches you how to read music, how to play, how to sit down, how to move your hands as well. It's not as good as having an actual teacher, of course, because you don't get that feedback and you don't get the one-on-one time that you are looking for to really progress. But it's the next best thing if you don't want to pay someone to give you lessons or you don't want to pay for a course. You can just pay the $12 to get the book and work on your own. But in that year, if you practice consistently and you practice, let's say at least for 30 minutes, like I did, you're going to see a huge increase in your performance at the end of that 1 year. And what I would highly recommend you do is record yourself just on that day one. And you can record yourself, let's say every week or every month, even just playing the latest piece that you're working on. And then when you get to that year, record yourself again and just look at the progress that you've made. That's the good thing about having these phones, is that we can literally document every step of the journey. You can record every single practice session if you want to. You can record yourself from where you started and then record yourself from where you are today after a year. And it's going to be a huge increase. You're going to be really surprised if you stuck with it and you were consistent. You're going to be really surprised about how much you've learned and how much you've improved within that 1 year. So that's just a little bit about the journey here of that first year of piano. So you want to be consistent. You want to record yourself somehow so you know you're making that progress. You're going to come into these obstacles like the hand independence, the reading the music aspect. Just stick with it. I promise it's not as hard as it looks. If you stick with it for the year, then you're going to be really surprised about how good you have become. It's also going to motivate you to continue to get even better. So that first 6-month period playing the piano, first 3 months even, is the hardest because you don't know anything. So everything you play probably doesn't sound good. And you're playing simple stuff like Happy Birthday to You or Mary Had a Little Lamb, simple songs like that. It's probably not what you want to be playing. But stick with it. I promise it gets better. And let me know once you hit that year mark. Let me know how everything went. Hope that helps. My name is Josh LaFleur from Late Start Piano.